First, I would like to start with an explanation of what I feel an alternative rule system exactly is. Essentially, an alternative rule system is a set of made-up rules or guidelines that all players of the game must follow. Otherwise, the validity of their win can be questioned. Common rules that would be placed within an alternative rule system are pretty simple and self-explanatory as to why they would be placed in an alternative rule system. No spamming, no taking an already picked character from a player, waiting for the countdown timer to tick down to 0, etc. Now, how are these rules different from, say, the guidelines at a tournament or other official or a major event? Essentially, official tournament rules are more deeply thought about and researched more, focusing more on concepts than just surface level issues, compared to an alternative rule system that focuses purely on surface level issues. I'll use Meta Knight from Super Smash Bros. Brawl as an example. At the tournament KTAR 6, Meta Knight was used by 5 of the top 8 players in the tournament. Also, the Unity Rule Set Committee conducted a poll in early September 2011 on whether or not Meta Knight should be banned in competitive play. The poll was pro-ban with a majority of 75% of the vote. The point that I'm trying to get across with this information is that the issue with Meta Knight was so prevalent that it became more than just a surface level problem. Alternative rules are different from official tournament rules due to the fact that they focus on surface level issues instead of accurately focusing on more deep-rooted issues. Because of this, they're only fixing what players think is unfair, and very rarely stopping what actually is unfair. So other than just being an unfair way to ruin a viable and reasonable victory, what do these alternative rules affect other than just the decision of winning? To start off, it impedes player growth, and there are a couple ways it does this. For the first way, it stops new players from experimenting with the game. It sets boundaries with what can and cannot be used. It stifles levels of play and makes it more difficult to actually test the limits of the game itself. Spamming with an alternative rule system can be considered cheap and overpowered, but when people who actually both use and experience it, they begin to realize one thing, that it's predictable. People find different ways around the seemingly once overpowered tactics, such as simply jumping over it, blocking it, nullifying it with your own projectile, etc. As a result, players are able to evolve their level of play past these tactics and develop more intricate and elusive styles of play. Without encountering these tactics, however, it can give way to having excuses as to why an individual lost, and instead of accepting the loss and trying to understand why they lost in order to truly increase the competence of their play, they are able to shrug it off and learn nothing from the event because it did not fall under the alternative rule system. This hurts the player even more because when they go against players of a higher skill caliber, they won't be able to properly counter the tactics that they have deemed inappropriate within the alternative rule system.
Welcome to the real world! Welcome to the real world!
Okay, that's a cheat move. That's a cheat move.
Welcome to the real world!
A good example of this can be seen within David Sirlin's book Playing to Win, where he proceeds to throw someone a consecutive number of times repeatedly before winning, with the loser only questioning the validity of an otherwise fair and reasonable tactic. This example between a skilled player versus a lesser skilled player can go one step further. If a lesser skilled player believes that spamming is overpowered, then there would be no real room to even want to fully understand anything related to further and deeper mechanics of the game. To end my thoughts, I feel an alternative rule system should be avoided if one is attempting to play the game on a higher skill level and is making an attempt to become overall better at their game.